CVS is the largest pharmacy store chain in the United States. With almost 10,000 stores, they are a major player in the market. They also have a ton of remote roles, more than most companies in their space. But getting a job with them can be incredibly competitive. But it's about to be a lot less competitive for you, because in today's video, which is video 1 of a 5-part series on how to get a job with CVS, I'm going to walk you through some of the actual interview questions they're going to ask you and teach you from a recruiter's perspective how to answer them. Let's go. Now, the first question is, what does good customer service mean to you? Now, this is a very common question that you're likely to be asked in just about any customer-facing role that you answer. It's important here to do a few things. You want to show enthusiasm. If they are asking you this question, it's because it's going to be a significant component of your role. And you want to make sure that you're showing them that this is something that you embrace. You also want to have a solid methodology. So when they ask you this question, a good answer might sound something like this. Well, that's a great question. For me, great customer service is all about the experience you're providing with a customer. Every single customer who comes to the door is looking for something. And as a customer service representative, my job is to make sure that, one, I help them with whatever it is they need, but they also have a great experience. So this means being inquisitive, asking them questions, and ultimately making sure they find what they came for and that they leave happy and satisfied. Something like that is a great way to answer this question. It's direct, to the point, you have enthusiasm, and you have a clear and distinct plan, and you don't blab on for too long. You want to make sure you're concise when answering this question. Let's go to the next one. The next question is, if a customer came in and they were upset, how would you handle it? This is another very common question you might get if you're interfacing with customers at all. And here, I've always said that it's really important to let them know that you won't be offended if a customer is upset, right? You understand as an employee that they're not upset at you, they're upset at the situation. So you're not defensive. Instead, you are focused on helping them find the solution. And that needs to come across in your answer. So when you're answering this question, feel free to insert bits of yourself in there, bits of your methodology and your practice when it comes to dealing with people. But a good answer might sound something like this. You know, I've dealt with this in the past in different roles where I've been customer facing. And I think the thing that comes to mind first is that the customer is never really mad at you. They're upset at the situation. So you can't be defensive. What you need to do is talk to the customer, understand why they're upset, make sure they feel heard, and then work to do your best to address their issue. A lot of times customers will just appreciate how hard you're working to make sure things go right for them or that you turn it around for them, even if you can't find the solution. So make sure you're understanding, make sure they feel seen, make sure they understand that you were listening and you care about their issue, and then do whatever you can to solve that. I've always found that if you go above and beyond and you end up solving it for the person, it's possible for you to turn their entire experience around. So that's my approach to dealing with an upset customer. And there you go. It shows that recognition that, they aren't mad at you, and it shows your commitment to solving it. You mentioned going above and beyond. What I also did while I was answering that question is I talked about how I've dealt with this before. I've said, in the past when I've dealt with this, and then I give my answer. And that's valuable because it lets them know that you are seasoned. You have dealt with these situations before, and you are likely to be equipped to deal with them for them in the future. The next question is, what attracted you to a role in retail? And I like this. This is a unique question. I've done videos on how to get jobs with several companies, and several of them are retail companies, and I've never seen this question. And I think this can be unique to you, so make sure it's something that sounds authentic. You don't want to sound fake here. And there's a lot of different ways you can go with it. But for me, I think one of the things that you could call out is how much you like dealing with people. You like interacting with people, you're a strong communicator, and you like solving people's problems and helping people. And if you have an answer that centers around those things, it's going to be good. So feel free to make it your own. You might say something along the lines of, for me, it just comes back to helping people. I've always been a people person. I like helping people. And so these roles are attractive to me because it gives me an opportunity to have interactions with people who come in needing my help, and I get to help them and make their day better. Something like that is good. You can also talk about your love of the industry or the field or your expertise if it's applicable, but just let them know that it's, there are reasons why you're interested. And enthusiasm matters here. If you come off as flat like, oh, I don't know, I need a job because I need to buy food, that's not going to do it. At the end of the day, people are always going to hire people who are more passionate if they have the option to do so. So make sure your passion comes through when you're answering this question. By the way, if you are liking this video and you are finding value, do me a favor, hit that like button. It is free and it tells YouTube that I don't suck. And if you're here and you've already liked it, hit that subscribe button. Let's make this thing real. The next question is, are you comfortable being on your feet for nearly your entire shift? This is one of those questions that I call a pass-fail question. If you say, yeah, I'm comfortable, I've had several jobs in the past in which I've had to be on my feet for my entire shift, and it doesn't bother me. That's a great answer, right? That's a pass. But if you show any hesitation or say flat outright, yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to do that, or yeah, I don't know, I prefer to be sitting during my shift, they might be opposed to that. Now, this is obviously different if you need some sort of accommodation. So if you're watching this and that's you, know that I'm clearly not talking about you. That's a different situation altogether. But if you're talking of a person who does not need an accommodation, this can be one of those things that's a pass-fail. You don't want any hesitation to be visible while you're answering this question. Now, the next question is, how would you describe your cash handling skills? And I think what's most important here, if you have a background where you've done this, is to let them know you have done it for X amount of time, right? You're showing them that I have already done this and I am comfortable. So that if you have cash handling experience, two things need to come across. You already have previous experience of blank duration, and yes, you are comfortable doing it. If you don't have any experience doing that, that's a whole different story. Then, you want to say something along the lines of, I don't have any cash handling experience. However, I'm very comfortable doing that. I am quick with mental math, and I'm a fast learner on different systems. Something like that. Ideally, you do have it because this question is going to be a lot easier for you to answer. If you do, you might want to say something along the lines of, oh, I'm incredibly comfortable handling cash. I've had to do it at a few of the different jobs I've had, and I would say in total I have about 6 years experience handling cash. Something like that. It's easy, it's straightforward, but they just want to know, have you done this before and are you comfortable? Any sort of hesitation here hurts you as a candidate, but giving them a brief, effective answer where you're enthusiastically and confidently saying yes gets it done. The next question is, are you a team player? This is an interesting question because nobody asks this question hoping you'll say no. They ask this question hoping you'll say yes, right? It's clearly part of their culture. It's part of what makes it tick for CVS. However, just saying yes isn't going to get it done. If someone asks you this question, you're a team player, and you go, yes, that's not going to do it. You have to give them more. So my advice when you're answering a question like, are you a team player, is one, you're going to show them enthusiasm, right? They need to feel that you like it being part of a team. But then I would also reference that in the past, it's been some of what's been most enjoyable in previous jobs. So they might ask the question, hey, Ben, are you a team player? And you want to answer something like this. Absolutely. In the past, it's been one of my favorite parts of previous roles is being part of a good team where we can work to achieve different goals and objectives together. Additionally, I've been doing sports my entire life. So I have a lot of experience being in a team, both in a professional and social environment. And I just love feeling as part of a team. Something like that, clearly a great answer, and it'll give them confidence that you won't upset the apple cart and you'll come in, you'll be a good teammate. Now, this next question is a hypothetical, and it's really interesting. It's, if your shift was coming to an end, but your relief was running late, would you be comfortable staying for a little bit longer, right? So this is a hypothetical. You're working, the person who's supposed to come when your shift ends and take over, they're not there. Are you willing to stay? Clearly, what they want to hear is yes, you would. Right? Let me give you an example of a bad way to answer this question. Hey, Ben, would you be willing to stay longer if the person who was your relief wasn't showing up? No, I would leave the store. And if there was no one to watch it besides myself, tough. If a store gets robbed, ransacked, set on fire, looted, it is what it is. It's not my worry. My shift is over. Punch in, punch out. That's a bad way to answer this question. A better way to answer this question is be like, absolutely. Things happen. And I think as part of a team, every once in a while, you're going to need to do things. You're going to need to step up to help your team. And if my relief was running late and I needed to stay longer until that person was able to show up or until the replacement person was able to show up, I would have no problem doing that. That's how you answer that question. And if you answer it in any other way, it's probably going to hurt your candidacy. Now, the other questions they're going to ask you, some of the really challenging questions are behavioral interview questions. So I made an entire other video on it here. In this video, I give you some of the actual behavioral interview questions they're going to ask you, and I teach you how to answer them from a recruiter's perspective. Behavioral interview questions are some of the most challenging questions you are going to be asked. So go watch this next.